Let's talk about smartphones. They've become an essential part of our lives. When we wake up, we go on our phone, turn the alarm clock off, check the fitness app, do our workout, check the weather, check the traffic to work. Then we might be scrolling through social media while eating breakfast. Then at work we post our update on LinkedIn. Then on the way home on our commute, we might be listening to a podcast, or if we travel by train, might be watching a Netflix series. Our entire life evolves around having a smartphone. Our smartphones have become entertainers. Most of us can't live without one anymore. Because I fall into the same category, I thought I'd challenge myself to a 30-day challenge. I wanted to see, is it possible to live without a smartphone for 30 days? In this video I talk all about my experience using a dumb phone, which is a phone where you can only use text and you can call. I'll share my journey and you can follow along what happened and see if you want to go down the same road and go and do the same challenge. So let's dive right in. What are the challenges in the first 3 days? I think one of the things that have really stuck to me and struck me that being the hardest challenge is the fact that you always go and grab your pocket and you're like, where's my phone? Oh, actually it's small and I don't need to check it right now. The biggest challenge for me, I think, is not having the apps that I love. I realized I had about 120 apps on my phone. That's been a real challenge not to have a runner tracker app, an app that I can track my fitness, Freeletics it's called, and also things like Google Maps or WhatsApp, where everyone's like, hey, why aren't you using WhatsApp? I wrote you a message. And I'm like, yeah, doing a bit of a detox there. So I think it's important for me personally to not say, hey, I won't ever use a smartphone again, but to be more mindful. What I've noticed, especially in the mornings, I used to get up early and like, hey, yeah, you start your day early, great job. But then what happened is that I would just go on my phone. I'd scroll for an hour or longer on Instagram, and scrolling all this time I just wasted the most important hour of the day. So I've noticed I could get up now and I could start the day by doing exercise and also be more focused on important stuff. And even though I'm on holiday, there's no work this week, and next week I just got this sense of accomplishment, doing more things, and you're feeling more active as well. Maybe it's helping that also having these cold showers in the morning that kind of like get your brain going and active and pumping energy. So that's my impression from the first 3 days. Obviously you have the withdrawal syndrome, which is that you always try to check your phone and you're like, oh, actually it's not there. And that really shows that for me, even though it was only 3 to 4 hours a day, that it really is an addiction. So, an update on this phone. It's been a week now since I migrated from my big iPhone to this phone. Recently I have especially appreciated when I go on a train or when I go with the car to just have like this single focus on the task that I'm doing. And in the train recently I've been reading this book. It's called Deep Work by Cal Newport, and it's really good to go deep and not always be distracted. And I've found that for me, my distractions have often come from the phone, especially on long journeys. I would always switch to my phone, scroll all the time and like listen to music and go on Instagram and just always get distracted and want more and more information as the day passes. And so what I've really found helpful is with this small little phone, it really just does text and it does calls, and that's all. And it's all you really need. Now there's a few things that I have been missing, and mostly that is Google Maps for transport. The other day I had to call my wife to ask her that she can then teleprompt me the directions to get to a supermarket near us, and that was quite crazy and not ideal, let's put it that way. But what I've found is that apart from that, and also and also tracking my runs, I've been quite okay with it. Like, you get used to it. There's a few challenges, but apart from that, it works really well. Another thing is that our online ticket for the train is on an app. It has so many things, and so I'm lugging my iPad with me all the time, which is also a bit clunky and not ideal. And there's so many convenience things like paying with your phone, looking at your bank statements online, and a lot of things now need phone verification. Luckily, text messages still work, so that's good. But apart from that, there's so many aspects of our lives that revolve around having a smartphone and verifying with it, because it fits in our pockets and it's just always there. And so that's really quite a challenge to navigate those waters, especially because it's just not so simple to get from A to B without a phone, or be in a city. Like, for instance, we went to Friedrichshafen, which is near Lake Constance, on Monday. And I was like, okay, well, maybe you, Bron, my wife, can look up the directions to get to certain places. So that's another thing that's obviously a bit tricky, is that you have to plan a lot ahead when you have Wi-Fi or internet. And then once you go somewhere, you just have to rely on the pre-work that you've done. Like, you can draw a map, you can look at all of that stuff in advance, and you are then more present in the moment. So generally, just as a disclaimer, I have been using my iPad as a backup for banking. I've just set my train tickets on there, and that's really is a lifesaver, let's put it that way. Without it, I couldn't do a lot of things as travel, and also I've been using my laptop obviously for other stuff. But I think for me, my takeaway so far, 1 week into this challenge, is that you can definitely survive on one of these for a while, and it's a good way to get away from the rush of WhatsApp, from Facebook, from Instagram, and just to be more in the moment, especially when you go out and travel a bit. One more thing that I really need to say is I've really found that especially people who would contact you on WhatsApp, and that's very common in Germany, would just use WhatsApp as the one source of communication, and that's super frustrating. Like, so many people are going via my wife to then get to me, and it's just like, guys, just call me, just message me. I know it's not ideal, but especially with WhatsApp being a message, you can just as well paste that in a text message and send it to me. So that's one thing that I've really struggled with, and also my wife, she's annoyed being the middleman, always passing messages through her. And so that's why I wouldn't do this long term, just because she doesn't have to always do that, in my opinion. But that means that we have to retrain our minds to actually reflect on this message and really realize that, okay, well, it's okay to message someone, to call someone. We've become the society where especially young people are afraid of actually taking a phone and calling someone. And that's crazy, because it's the easiest way to communicate if you're not in the same room, and communicate in a way that people don't misunderstand, especially if you're using a camera, like on FaceTime or Skype, for example. You are actually almost replicating that experience of being in the same room talking to each other. Like, I know that's not this case, it's a big step towards that goal. I've really appreciated people who've reached out and who've called me, and then we've just settled that over the phone quickly. And it's just quite interesting to see that that's how our society is changing in a way, and we have become dependent of these smartphones, and they're basically always on, always reachable, and that does make it more challenging for those who don't have these smartphones. It's really quite exciting to see how you get bored but that's okay to get bored, and then you get creative and you're like, okay, so what can I do now? And it's not like, oh, I'll just open Instagram or YouTube Shorts and scroll through and waste another 2-3 hours of my day by doing nothing. So that is also a real benefit of this as a social media, but also phone fast, especially when leaving the house. Let me summarize this 30-day challenge, because today is Monday the 17th of July, and that means that I have done an entire month, 30 days without a phone, without a smartphone, to be more specific. These last 30 days I've really felt in the moment more. I've read a lot in my book. I've almost finished the first book in a long time, I'd say at least 3 or 4 years. What also really helped me was to have this extra time to focus on stuff that really mattered. I also did a lot more videos than compared to the last 30 days. And I always thought to myself, well, what do I want to do now? I had more time which was empty, and also I embraced the boredom factor, let's call it that, because I was bored sometimes, but being bored then also enables you to go into a different space. I connected with a lot of people more intimately, let's put it that way, because whenever I was with people, I would spend 100% of the time with them. And so I wasn't distracted by my phone and all of that. So that was really helpful. You don't need a smartphone to live. It's useful, and I'm really happy to get Google Maps back. That'll be one of the biggest highlights, I think. The other thing is that I'll be happy to do more tracking of my running as well. And I'm really looking forward to also using some of the WhatsApp features, such as being in touch with people. Yeah, going back to that feeling of being in touch, which is important to me, and also connecting with a few more people over there. And so in general, I would recommend this to anyone who feels like their phone is sucking away their valuable time, because it's so important that we realize that this life is not all about smartphones, about getting entertained the whole time. It's about how we can connect with other people 100% in the moment and not be distracted. It's about finding the meaning of life as well. What does it mean to live, and also think about the big topics. I really appreciated this time away, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone, even if it's not for the whole 30 days, but just a few. So thanks so much for watching, and if you want to see more about my life goal and what I've done, what changes I've done, and what journey I'm on, then you can click on this video over here. Thanks for watching.